ECW, what happened to you? One day it was barely legal, one day it was through. 3 letters changed my life. I remember staying up all night, some blood was shed and tits were shown. I had a smile and a bone. In a big old hole down in Philly, yeah, brother, that was a city. On a corner of Red or Swanson, strange things, what they wanted. It all started in the NWA. Called it Eastern back in the day, but that sure didn't last too long when Gordon brought O.W.P along. Franchise for down the world title, some might as well been a Bible. Then came their first pay-per-view. Let me tell you, boy, it was cool. Barely legal was the name. I'm telling you, shit was insane. ECW shot off the moon. Ride was wild and it flew. Magazines and merchandise.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Hello, David.
Cuz.
Oh my God.
And Craig.
David.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, ECW November to Remember 1998. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And anything that we talk about today is inspired by the WWE Network. Do yourself a favor and catch your free month today to watch anything WWE, WCW, ECW, and more. Guys, what the fuck are we doing here?
Cuz, I have to call Cuz out to the carpet right here, really fast.
You mother bitch.
I have a question for you. Are you ready?
Oh.
All right.
Did I do anything wrong to you? Are you mad at me?
Have we wronged you in some fucking way? Yeah.
¿Por qué?
Because why the fuck did you make me watch this pay-per-view? Like, Cuz...
It's your idea, Cuz!
Earlier in the week,
your idea!
I was scrambling and I was trying to do it, and then Cuz just said, hey, you know what? I want to do more ECW stuff. It's November. Let's do a November to Remember. Let's do 98. And I was like, okay. 3 months ago, we did Heatwave 98, and it was a very good show.
Well, before you even answer that question, we have a little diddly do that we do when we do reviews, where I try to bring up shit that makes Jess and Craig very upset.
Preach.
Which is the opposite
Dave.
of any pay-per-view. Like, this is bullshit. You're like, this is the best pay-per-view ever. Go fuck yourself. I couldn't find anybody that really... This is going to be a shit show. We're going to shit all over this. I couldn't find anyone that wouldn't shit on it with me to really upset Jess and Craig. Cuz, explain yourself.
Before Cuz explains himself, I just want to say, fans, don't turn off. You're gonna find we're gonna talk a lot about what's good in this pay-per-view.
There's great stuff. Don't get me wrong.
But we gotta tease them. We gotta hook them in. We're not gonna shit on this the entire time. There is some decent things in this match, in this card, but it's important to say off the bat,
this
was
card?
an unexpected choice, and we all texted each other when we watched it, and basically was, what the fuck? So, Cuz, continue.
It is a big WTF. Go ahead, Cuz, explain yourself.
Why'd you choose it?
One, nostalgia. 2, I actually fucked up. Well, ECW is part of my childhood. I fucked up, and I actually meant to do November to Remember 99 because that was the better show. But 98 was stuck in my head because of Heatwave 98. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, we're going to talk about it too. 3 months before was Heatwave 98, which we reviewed 3 months ago. And it was a great pay-per-view. We really all enjoyed it.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh yeah, 98 was a good year for ECW. And then I watched it and I was like, 3 months later, how is this a different promotion? Like,
And we need to call Cuz out because when we started the podcast, we choose our backgrounds. We all gave him crap because he had November to Remember 99 and called him out on it. He's like, "Oh yeah, gotta change that."
Maybe I was alluding to
He had
something,
99 on his mind the whole time.
baby.
so this is kind of funny, actually.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great night.
here's
This is
the-
the O.W.P. signing off. Like, oh my
See,
god.
Here's the
Easy.
climate of the wrestling industry here. In 1998,
Tell us.
in
There
November,
you go.
the wrestling war was on fire. WCW had relinquished their number one position, but they were still on fire. They were still setting records. They were still setting gate records and pay-per-view records. WCW, even though they were number 2 at this point, was still on fire. And they would occasionally slap WWE back. WWF was just on major fire here in November of 98. Steve Austin was the number 1 guy. The Rock was becoming a superstar. Later this month in November, Rock would win his first WWF Heavyweight Championship at the tournament in
Wow.
Survivor Series 98, a Deadly Games. So there was
my.
a lot of stuff going on. And over in WCW, I don't know, something about NWO and shit, and Goldberg was champion and shit. So they were all big names here. So ECW is right smack dab in the middle here. The Monday Night Wars was right in the apex of it. So, I mean, ratings were being set every week, records, gate records were still, WWF was on fire. ECW actually had its, not counting this pay-per-view, one of its banner years as well. So this is at the height of the Monday Night Wars with the number 3 brand. So I think this is going to be an interesting take, even though we just kind of shit on Cuz's thing and Cuz messed up. And there's a difference between 8 and 9, just so you know. And I still think it's going to be fun. So
We open up to November 1st of 1998. And this is pre-recorded, obviously. New Jack is jumping people and gets arrested
Like
before
always.
we even get into the arena on pre-tape work. Do you
Well,
guys wanna
and
talk
also
about that?
to let everybody know, ECW was known for being out of Philadelphia. This was in New Orleans,
Louisiana, baby.
At the
Outlets.
Lakefront
My
Arena.
notes: Lakefront Arena, New Orleans, Louisiana, 5,800 in attendance is where we're at.
Still good for
Perfectly, not a sellout. All you have to do is look at the
Good for ECW,
the
though.
overlay of the fixed cam. And
Do we know if this is the current Smoothie King Arena or no? Is this older than that?
No.
It was way too smaller, right? Yeah, it
think-
definitely
yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah, this one was set
Yeah.
up for shit. Yeah, this one was set up
There's
for
no
like
way, you're
only
right.
9,000 people or something like that.
Yeah, and
and they only put like 50 or
yeah,
something in.
and you do get the standard Joey Styles in the ring when everything starts, and he kind of announces the big cards.
No.
Eh.
It's not
we're not-
standard. Let me tell you something. Joey Styles did okay, I'm going to start off upset.
Calm down.
Joey Styles did, yes, you're right. He did typically welcome them in, but this was so painfully like when I first started watching it, I was like, why is he running down the fucking pay-per-view? We bought it.
Yeah.
Like if we're watching it, we bought
Before
it.
that, why was
Like-
the footage in the Attack of New Jack in black and white?
NWO influence? I have no idea. I couldn't answer your question. Yeah, they did a whole thing where like
violent.
New Jack got
Why don't
arrested.
you ask Paul? God.
And already I was like, before it even went live, when I watched the opening segment, I was like, did I click on the wrong thing? Is this one of their hardcore TV episodes? I thought it was one of their
That's
weekly
weird.
episodes. And the way they did it between cuts, they did the static or whatever. And I was just like,
Yeah,
is this, I thought I clicked on the wrong thing legitly. And I was like, no, I'm watching
No.
November to Remember 98. And
That's
then
how they did it.
Yeah, they go in live, and then Joey Styles was like running down the card, and I was like, "Why is he running down the card? He does open the pay-per-views, but he doesn't run down the card." And then Terry Funk walks out, and let me tell you something.
Yep.
I love
Okay.
Terry Funk. We'd never talk about him on our podcast, but he's one of my favorite performers to watch. I love Terry Funk.
He is. He's great.
However,
My horse is sick.
after 30 or 60 seconds of this ridiculousness, like your mother's a whore. After like 30 or 60 seconds of this ridiculousness, I was upset, and I was like, "Why is he doing this? This is awful. Like nothing's making any sense. Why is he crashing the set?" And he came up with something like, "Tommy Dreamer is going to choose her mystery partner. He didn't call me," and I was like, "I don't care." Like, and I was so upset at this opening segment. I was.
I
so
have
turned off.
speculation on that, by the way.
Good.
Terry Funk was drunk.
That could be
Absolutely.
true.
Well, it was
pretty
playing off
sure.
the fact that he left for WWF because he wanted a lighter schedule.
Did you
So
say
they were kind of playing that-
WWEF? Like
Yeah,
EF?
they did.
EF?
The World Wrestling Federation.
So hopefully we'll
So
get more
okay,
of that as we go.
so we're gonna go. That
Hasn't
was
kicked
it.
in
We're
yet.
gonna go into the
Almost.
first match here, which is the Blue World Order. The Blue Meanie and Supernova defeated Danny Doring and the Roadkill. The Amish Roadkill was his nickname. Okay, 10 minutes and 54 seconds. Way too long. let me
Oh
just say.
my.
Yeah.
all these moves. I'm just going to say that. And just because you can doesn't mean you should. From Jeff Goldblum and Jurassic Park.
Whoa.
So all these flips, the Blue Meanie did flips off the top rope, but look at him. Roadkill was a big dude, and he purposely did high flying spots to show people that he's a 300-pound man, and he could do it. Actually, I did like Roadkill. I was very impressed by him.
I did too. Yeah.
But at the same time, this opening tag match, listen, the BWO was a great character. It was a great, funny little gimmick that they would do to make fun of the NWO.
Gimmick is
so I liked it. But when these guys get on the ropes and they do 450 splashes and they do back moonsaults and stuff, I'm like, okay, listen. I'm sure every wrestler can do a combination of those moves, but you don't do it. In other words, like, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Like today.
Well,
very good point. Very good point.
Just because you can wear cutoff jeans with your saggy white ass doesn't mean you should.
That's fine. That's why.
So where are we exactly going with this? Is this not ECW?
Where I'm going with it is that he was supposed to be silly looking, and that totally makes sense. But him getting in there and doing all these amazing wrestling moves that Jerry Lynn does, Lance Storm does, or whatever. Listen, every wrestler can do most moves. There's a lot of wrestlers that we always saw that were a clown act, like God, I don't remember his name right now. Anyway,
don't compare.
Well, no, not even
Doink can do the Red Arrow. I mean, we know that.
He's literally a clown act. But there's a lot of people that could do that stuff, but they don't. Eugene, he would do like little spots where he would do amazing wrestling moves, like like cat, go behinds and all that stuff, because they tried to show you that. Yeah. But like I'm sure Eugene could do moonsaults and 450 spots. I'm sure he could, but like you don't do it all the time. So Blue Meanie, his short shorts, Dave, to my point and your counterpoint, is that was his gimmick. He didn't have any business doing that stuff off the top rope, because I don't need to be impressed by him. I need to laugh because of him. I need to
spiked. Doring misses. Well, Nelson, Doring drops down. Nice counter. Oh, he got caught. Blue Light Special.
I needed to laugh because of the BWO. And everybody knows that Supernova was a talented guy. But at the same time, like, he didn't have to do all that stuff. Their gimmick did it. And it's the opening match. I don't want to see you do stuff that I want to see RVD do later. So you don't need to blow your wad.
But it is the opening match, yeah?
I mean, it's the opening match, right? But you can do stuff.
You gotta pop off, right? I mean,
you don't have to pop off.
I'm playing devil's advocate here because I'll read you my nose. I'm kind of being an asshole, and I don't know why, because I think we're all gonna shit on this pretty hard, but it's an okay match. The best part of it, in my opinion, is Funk literally putting himself through a table because the table doesn't break. So he resets it. And he puts himself through a table because he knows he has to use the pieces of the table later at the end of the match,
exactly.
Where everything just goes fucking off the rails.
I never put that together.
That's where it all starts. And it distracts from the match completely. Thumbs in the middle for me. Roadkill has a huge splash off the top rope. He misses the Amish bomb. And
cut him off, Jess. Fuck him up, Jess. Cut him off.
You go for it, because the match itself is fun.
No, it wasn't.
I'm giving that thumbs up, but Funk is back with the table pieces, and he's attacking the Blue World Order because he's drunk. And he wants to be with Tommy Dreamer and be best friends, and that's not happening.
Tommy.
I'm sorry. Tommy! You wanted me to be your father figure.
I give it a thumbs down. This makes no sense. Okay. None of it makes any sense. Terry Funk,
I'm doing my best to give it a thumbs middle.
He has no business like being in this. It just ruins the match. Why? Every match, by the way, on this card is that theme. People that have no business in the feud are fucking the match up for no reason. Just why?
Throwing everyone on the roster in there for no reason.
In wrestling, when you truly fuck up, but you know where the ending has to be, the table didn't break. Watch Terry Funk in this match.
I don't watch the BWO.
I need the pieces. I need the table pieces. So
I don't watch the BWO to show me new moves I've never seen before.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's the heart of this match. These moves that they're doing, they were great moves. I'm not saying any move was executed.
That's true.
But I'm saying that they did not need to do these moves.
I would say that they weren't great moves. If they would have told a story and be crisp and not sloppy, it would have been better.
They were sloppy.
Well, sloppy is ECW.
Every double team,
on this pay-per-view.
They had inventive stuff. It did not capture me. It was very sloppy, and Funk distracted through the whole thing anyway, even if they did tell a good story. So
So
I don't
creative.
think Funk was drunk. I just think they didn't know what to do with him. And it was
Well,
like,
he
just
was
be out there for the
he
first
was
7
kayfabe
seconds.
drunk. If we're gonna be real about
Right.
it,
He was funk. He was funk. He was
He was
terrible.
funk
drunk.
Which,
He was
and,
funk
and
drunk.
Funk,
That's
80% of
patent
the time
that right now.
works.
Tell
Funk
Terry
works.
I'm
It didn't
patenting
work
funk
here.
drunk tonight.
Yeah.
It's funk
Getting
drunk.
funk tonight.
You're gonna get funk drunk tonight.
So,
Here's
Craig,
the
what's
deal.
your rating, Craig?
Oh,
yeah,
thumbs
what's
up.
the rating?
Yeah,
No, thumbs
Thumbs
down
up?
is terrible. I didn't
Thumbs
like
down. Okay.
Because
Here's the deal. Terry Funk knows where the ending is gonna be. The table doesn't break, so he literally resets it and breaks it.
I
with
am
his own
talking
ass
about
back.
the BWO versus Danny Doring and Roadkill. I don't give a fuck about what Terry Funk did. He ruined everything.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to argue the whole.
I don't care
You-
about
you
Terry
misunderstand.
Funk. 'Cause what's your thumbs up or thumbs down thing?
I give thumbs in the middle. It's the opener. It's
Okay, moving on. Fuck
Wait,
off.
no,
okay.
but
It's the hot
cuz,
So let's
because
go to
this is
FBI
this is
and,
Cousin's Love Baby. He picked
and,
it.
you know,
Cuz-
Tommy Rogers and Tracy
Wait,
Smothers. 'Cause
Dave,
that's
wait,
fucking
shut up,
great.
Dave.
Cuz-
I'm the one that
Why?
controls the
Why?
card. I didn't say
Why?
move on. We're not moving on. Calm your
Cuz,
ass.
what-
Craig,
what's
what
your
do you-
opinion,
okay,
Cuz,
we're gonna
on
talk about
Terry
this
Funk
shit.
and his
Okay.
I
I
control
thought it
the
was
card.
shit. It was thumbs down. Is it thumbs down,
No.
Cuz?
No, I
it's
give
Cuz-
thumbs in the
thumbs
middle.
for Cuz. But Cuz,
Oh,
what's your
Cuz,
opinion on
thumbs in the
Terry
middle.
Funk?
You agree with me? Why?
Yeah. Because it's an opener, so I mean that's why they
Oh,
went for
I
what they went
automatically gives it a
for.
thumbs
And then
up.
Terry Funk, I know he has nothing to do with the match. The story is about Terry Funk leading up to Tommy Dreamer, but the problem I had with it is Joey Styles should have automatically said he broke the table because he wants to use it as a weapon. All he had to do was say that, and then the table break would have made more sense as far as the Terry Funk thing goes. But aside from that, the ending was sloppy. The blue light special was sloppy. But they still hit some moves that, it got the crowd to raise up. It was good for an opener. Could have been shorter, but I gave it a thumbs in the middle because I still enjoyed it a little bit. I did. That's just my opinion on it.
Could have been a lot shorter.
Yeah, it could have been 5 minutes shorter.
Dave, did you track the interviews? Because I know that they do little interviews in between here, and I didn't care.
No.
I don't even remember if there was an interview after.
So, I don't think there was. Here.
Pause too. Let me check
No,
my
there
notes.
was a few, but I don't
Let me
think.
look at my notes. No.
No, I did
So the
not.
next match was of all things, so little people are going to get
Yes.
this. Tommy Rogers
Yes. I
versus
love
Tracy Smothers. Like, I forgot that Tommy Rogers. For those people who don't know Tommy Rogers, he was one half of the Fantastics,
Fantastics, yeah.
from the 80s.
That doesn't
fame.
help anyone, by the way, when you say that.
It probably doesn't. You're correct. And Tracy Smothers was part of the Young Pistols, part of the Southern Boys in WCW, and he's done a lot
Legend
of
doesn't
R.I.P. baby.
Yeah,
That
You're
doesn't
not,
help
you're not helping
either.
anyone out.
Tennessee
That
He's
doesn't
a
help
good wrestler, Jess.
He's a great
He's
wrestler.
a
Tracy
really good
Smothers,
wrestler.
he recently passed away, but let me tell you,
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. A really good wrestler that nobody knows. Go
Yes.
back and watch it is what I would tell you.
he was middle aged for a wrestler here, but I enjoyed them because they both were veterans
Yes.
here. I'm gonna read my notes. I think they both look great in the ring for their quote unquote age, even though we have wrestlers in their 40s wrestling now. But these guys look good for their age. They were a part of the 80s wars and stuff like that in the territories. These guys are major veterans here at this point. I love Tracy Smothers in the FBI. I thought it was really fucking
Yes,
funny.
I love it too.
He was great. They look great together. It was a house show match kind of feel and pacing, but that's fine
Yeah,
because I
that's
didn't
true.
want these guys to do what they shouldn't do. Opening match.
Moans
I
up,
wanted
okay.
them to do what they're supposed to do. So I give it a thumbs in the middle because it wasn't meant to tear the house down, but they were fun together. And by the end, the crowd was at least clapping respectfully, going,
Oh, hell
these
yeah.
two guys are legends, legitly, and they've
Yes.
been around a long time already at this point. So it was fun. I really liked it. And again, the end
There you
gets all
go.
fucking convoluted and shit because heaven forbid we have
Yeah.
a fucking 101 match on this card. But there was a lot of people at ringside.
ECW.
But when
Right,
Terry
you're-
Funk
yes.
jumped off the lighting grid and hit Tracy Smothers with a chair, like I did.
What?
I'm
Just kidding.
surprised Funk didn't come out.
So I'm gonna give you mine because it's really bad, and then people that actually watch it can move on. So Tracy
Please do.
Smothers, Tommy Rogers. You get to the start of the match where everybody in the FBI for some reason has to give you the fanoon. They have
That's
to,
their thing.
Yeah,
that's their thing. And then I got up and I took a shit
God damn it, Dave.
and I missed it.
All right,
I missed the whole match.
You could have
So
paused. There you go.
I
It
can't
network.
give you a rating
Hang on,
because
hang on.
no.
I'm pretty
I
sure
don't know.
For
paused
the
on
record,
WWE
now I
Network.
just want to. This is actually pretty impressive. Well, I don't know if it's that impressive. Dave took a 7-minute and 51-second shit because that's how long the match was.
for those of you that I don't know I don't know if I should I don't know if I should break this in, but like straight up,
Big old log.
it's it is November, it's election week, and I have destroyed my body with
The liquor
alcohol
shit?
throughout the week because I'm so stressed out. And I took it.
Yeah.
You have the Barry Windham Jack and Coke shit.
I took a 7-minute
Jesus.
Barry Windham shit. That's what
And
happened.
by the way,
That's what
Tommy
happened.
Rogers.
I don't.
Tommy Rogers
yeah.
won the match, by the way, with a
He
bunch
did,
of
he
outside
did.
Yeah, we
interference
didn't
and
mention it,
business.
but yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
I'm sorry. I had to go there because of that's not the way
Yeah.
we should end this match. It's probably really good.
Dave
we
gave it
should
a
give it
thumbs
the
up because
justice it deserves. I'm
Honesty
sorry.
is
Go ahead, guys.
appreciated.
Dave gave it a thumbs up because it was a fulfilling shit. So I'll accept that.
No contest.
No,
Actually,
it
no, it was
was
sloppy
in
and
the middle of
nervous. It was all
shit.
nervous.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't a thumbs up.
It
Let me
wasn't
get-
good.
Let me
It
get a
wasn't
wipe.
good at all.
Let me get a wipe.
Not fulfilling. Yeah.
Craig, go ahead. What do you give it?
Okay.
Sorry.
I liked it. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the promos in the beginning on the FBI funny gimmick with half of them not being Italian. Tracy Smothers, bigger than you think he is. I remember watching fantastic matches. He looked kind of worn and rugged on his face and had some rough years. But man, these guys played to the crowd. They did the job that I think the opener did not do, that sucked the crowd in. I think, Jess, when you said this maybe should have been the opener, I think it's a very valid point. Other than, but because you said this was all, the opening was all to set Funk up for later on in the match. But he was the entire time the entire pay-per-view was a setup for him. But I like this way more than I thought I would. As an old school kind of match, they still had elements of that like 80s wrestling, and it still worked in this environment in New Orleans with a hostile crowd, where they just heard Terry Funk drop S-bombs and A-bombs. I give it a thumbs up. I liked it. Like
And
I
before you
did.
go, cuz I'm sorry, the one thing I do admire about ECW is even when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling, all they had was quote unquote washed up stars. They had Morocco, Snuka when they did Eastern Championship Wrestling, and Paul Heyman figured out how to use that. Like he did make that stuff work. So I've always liked and enjoyed Paul Heyman's usage of legends, quote unquote, not because I say quote unquote like they're not legends, but the older guys and
get the best out of what you got.
he always did really well with the older guys. Like he understood. He was Paul Heyman's a fan of pro wrestling, and so I will give him credit for this one too. He always knew what to do with these guys that were again quote unquote past their prime, because we're watching AJ Styles, who's 78 now, still wrestle amazing matches and do great stuff or whatever. He might 76, Dave. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to fucking get the age wrong. But like he was
3 years older, bro.
I know, right? I know. I'm gonna throw up.
Mr. Smothers, perhaps
terrible.
not being Confederate, you would be Italian.
Perhaps you guys worked the match old school tonight. And
Do you like lasagna?
Only one of those guys is Italian. Yeah.
So, cuz, go ahead. I really appreciated what Paul Heyman does here. I love when he uses the older guys.
Paulie.
Go ahead, cuz.
Still going to give it a thumbs in the middle, but because
my.
of, like we said, the recurring theme of outside interference and a bunch of bullshit going on. But I liked it just because of the old school names. Tommy Rogers actually, I mean, other than his face, he actually looked like he was still in pretty damn good shape.
Yeah.
I love the FBI. I always love the FBI. Right after Tracy Smothers, I believe, is when they had Tony Mamaluke and Big Silva. And they always were in good matches. Little Guido was always in great matches.
He was funny.
He was really funny.
The next match is a singles match. It was supposed to be Spike Dudley, and I think it was, against Ulf Herman. Now, Ulf Herman was out with the FBI. He left, and then he came back, and he brings fucking Mabel. Yes, WWF King Mabel out with him.
That's a big boy.
Spike Dudley comes out. The crowd pops because he's an ECW kind of original and everything, and everybody likes it. And he goes out there. The match, I guess, was 5 seconds. I didn't hear the bell. There was a bunch of chicanery going on. Mabel was trying to put people through tables. Again, this is my problem with the pay-per-view. It was just too fucking cluttered. There was so much people. And then Spike came out and did some shit. And Mabel...
You're not even sure if there's a match here.
Yeah, Mabel backfired and accidentally splashed Ulf Herman, and Spike got the pin.
Oh, no.
The crowd did pop. My notes were what the fuck and thumbs down, because I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, again, I thought this was an episode of Hardcore TV.
I was taking
The next match, by the way, if you don't count the Spike Dudley and Ulf Herman match, the next match is the second and last singles match on this card. Every other match on this card was a tag or six man, which is also silly talk. It's okay.
Tag team
It's
edition.
Lance Storm.
Yeah, here we go.
Versus
By
Jerry
God,
Lynn.
Jerry Lynn.
Yes.
Lance Storm's corner was Tammy Lynn Bitch, who is a playoff of Tammy Lynn
Dawn Marie.
Sunny, which is Dawn Marie, who is hot,
Dawn
by the
Marie.
way.
Yes, she is.
He defeated Jerry Lynn. Why? This match is 16 minutes and 48 seconds. And you would think, oh, Jess, holy shit, you're going to thumbs up this motherfucker, aren't you? And I'm going to tell you, wait a second. There was an outside special ring enforcer, which is Mikey Whipwreck.
Mikey Whipwreck, yeah.
And
What a great name! Is that a great wrestling name, by the way?
It actually
Mikey Whipwreck.
It is.
It is.
And I like it.
It's almost as good as Glass Joe. And then the next one is Tammy Lynn Cinch, which everybody knows as Sunny. She's a special guest inside referee. So Sunny comes out and she's looking smoking hot.
Yes, she is in this one.
She has these striped referee stockings on. She has a really short ass mini skirt to where if she literally sneezes, that's how far she has to bend. She has a thong on and you see her full ass basically. And then she has a nice top that's tied in the middle and you can see her tatas. So she comes to the ring and she's special guest referee. So, okay. So already I'm okay with this because I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's whatever. So she sits in the ring and takes her stockings off. She sits on her ass, and the way the camera's panned is so you can see her crotch. So she's sitting, and you can see her crotch, by the way, not her bare crotch because she has a thong on, but you can see her crotch. So she takes off her stockings, throws them out to the crowd, sits down like I just described, and to show you her hoo-to-hoo, and she starts putting on regular white socks and strapping actual wrestling shoes on, like not wrestling boots, but the wrestling amateur shoes.
Nice sneakers, yeah.
To be a referee. And this moment was supposed to be like, oh my God, you could see her crotch. Well, after 2 seconds, I'm like, what? Why wouldn't she just leave the stockings on? Because that's way hotter. And secondly, just wear like Converse or something with the stockings on. Why take them off and then fucking have to put white socks on and referee shoes?
And just to go back, she's the referee.
Yeah, she's the referee on the inside. Mikey Whipwreck is a special enforcer on the outside of the ring. So, because Lance Storm and Jerry Lynn are known for their outside brawls, so you need an outside enforcer. No, they're two of the greatest in-ring Mac technicians in the world at this time, Jerry Lynn and Lance Storm. And I want to see these two motherfuckers wrestle because you've fucking jucked and jived me for the whole card and done all these special things and you've done everything you can up to this point. Now I'm like, okay, now we're going to get a one-on-one wrestling match. This also is an ECW staple as years before with the Benoits and the Malenkos and the Guerreros and all that stuff and the Mysterios and the Psychosises. Yes. So I'm like, okay, cool. Here we go. Here we go. And these guys are phenomenal throughout the match, except for the fact that every time Sunny did anything, when she went in to check for a submission, she'd purposely bend over to show her bare ass, and the crowd just cheered because she's delightful to look at, but it distracts from the match. Then they would do an armbar on the other side of the ring, and she would do the same thing, and she would bend over, and the skirt would flip up and show her bare ass, and everybody would go nuts.
To your point, Jess, and I'll let you go back to it. I just want to jump in. My notes say clinic that the crowd totally missed because of Tammy Lynn Cinch. They missed an entire wrestling clinic that was phenomenal. These guys put on a hell of a show where if you watch it without any interference or any multiple ref, outside, inside refs, Tammy Lynn bitch, all that, if they just came out on their own and wrestled, the crowd would have blown the roof off that building.
Why not?
Takes Jerry Lynn over. Slow count again. Bridge up by Jerry Lynn. There's a pedigree. Lance Storm driven into the canvas. Can Jerry Lynn capitalize? No, Lance Storm kicks out.
That building.
Why not have that? That's what you do. My notes were similar. My notes were why ruin this match with Sunny and Mikey, first of all. Secondly, Sunny was a big distraction and not in a good way. And I'm surprised that I say that as well because she was smoking hot.
Yeah.
I gave it a thumbs in the middle only because Lance Storm and Jerry Lynn were involved.
Tore it down. Yeah.
Like,
thumbs
they were
middle,
so good. But
the
the best match on the card, I'll go ahead and spoil it, was a thumbs in the middle because they couldn't, like every match before it, they had to crowd it. They had to put a bunch of people around that didn't need to be around, and the in-ring action was distracted. Why? This is not normal ECW. It's not.
And even if you're being real about it, Jess, even the finish is distorted by the distraction of Tammy Lynn Cinch.
It was ruined, not distorted.
It was, it's distracted and ruined because oh, someone hit me in the balls, so I'm gonna
Everyone
think it's
hits
her,
everyone with
blah, blah,
stunners,
blah.
and
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
Sunny
like,
takes
wait a
this
minute,
strange stunner
Yes.
right on the side of her neck, and like
It
Mikey
looked like it hurt.
Whipwreck has
That
like a thing
one
where he
actually looked like it
shouldn't have
hurt.
fought. It was the stupidest ending. It was terrible.
yeah, and it's only saved by the
wrestling.
incredible ring work of Lance Storm and Jerry Lynn. It's absolutely incredible what they do in there, and I guarantee you nobody thinks about it unless you watch this pay-per-view. And by the way, everybody, I'm not telling you to go watch this because you might shoot yourself in the face on the entire pay-per-view. But if you want to watch something, watch this match and try to avoid Tammy Lynn Stitch and bitch
Nope. So
in this match.
no, I will give it a thumbs down because I don't think
my.
I don't think it was saved by the ring work of these two guys. I said before
That's
we jumped
fair.
on this podcast
That's
that
fair.
this was the first match where they had two guys that looked like wrestlers that should be wrestling. And it was an actual singles match where guys were in the ring and it looked like a wrestling contest.
Blue Meanie's not a legitimate wrestler, Craig.
It was
I don't
it
You
was
tried to tell me he
non-cluster.
was, Dave, so calm down.
But then it was a cluster because it was
Blue
Mikey
Meanie, man.
Whipwreck.
You know, the
it was
Blue Meanie
Tammy, and she was so distracting. Her fast counts, her slow counts, the ending, it did not save it.
But Craig,
thumbs down.
I will defend that a little bit. That was intentional.
Yeah.
She fast counted for anything Lance Storm was on the back for.
Correct.
True.
Correct. But
That-
it
that
did
was the
not
story.
matter,
She
and I don't think it was
she was
necessary.
beefing with Tammy Lee, bitch.
Biatch. It just was. I feel bad. I'm punishing Lance and
You should
Jerry,
feel bad.
or Lance
Yeah.
and Jer, as I talk to
and
them.
it's
in chat
not
room.
it's
Yeah,
not
that's
fair,
dumb.
Craig, is it? It's not freaking
They
fair.
deserved better. They tried so
Yes,
so
yes.
hard.
they did.
They
Cuz,
deserve
what do you
better
think,
than my
Cuz?
thumbs down. But I
I
have
did
to
give it thumbs in the middle. Shut up, Craig. I give it thumbs in the middle. I give it thumbs in the middle though, just because yes, the wrestling and to be fair, Joey Styles did call it out. He said, "Why didn't she do that in the locker room?" When she's putting her socks on.
That made it right.
In the beginning when she's putting her socks on. Why
true.
didn't she just do that in the locker room?
The next match was for the ECW World Tag Team Championships. The defending champions, the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley, lost the tag team titles to Masato Tanaka, I love you, and Balls Mahoney. Axel Rotten was in their corner. Joel Gertner and Big Dick Dudley was and the Dudley sign guy was in the Dudley's corner. And really quick here, I don't care what anybody says. Joel Gertner's fucking funny. And
He's fucking great.
He's ridiculous. Like with a neck brace and his fucking stupid jacket on with no shirt on under it.
It's so
ridiculous.
good.
It's the best.
So
he makes
good.
me laugh.
With chest hair.
He does.
He's super committed and funny. Their segments go on too long. This match was 15 minutes and 1 second. So the whole thing was like the Louisiana State Athletic Commission did not allow chairs. So Axel Rotten got on the mic and cut a promo and tried to really whip the Louisiana crowd into a frenzy, which
They did
didn't
not
work
give a
very
shit.
well. And because the Louisiana crowd, they chanted ECW and stuff throughout the night at the right spots, but they were
It's
kind
not
of
Philly.
dead. Yeah, it's not Philly, and it's not that they were trying to branch out here. So the crowd, which we haven't really talked about, wasn't a full-on, like, totally rabid ECW crowd. It got rabid
No.
at moments it thought it was supposed to be rabid. When someone hit someone with a chair, ECW, because apparently they're the only ones that do that, which they don't. But at the same time, like, yeah, they didn't, and I felt the booking was the same way. The booking was trying so hard to reward the Louisiana crowd for coming out and seeing them that it was so convoluted and overbooked and ridiculous. And again, this match was brutal. The chair shots were crazy. I thought overall they were really off rhythm and they just didn't gel together. And Balls Mahoney drove me nuts when he continuously scooted in position. He would take a bump and then you would see him scoot
He
on
did that a
purpose
lot.
around. I fucking hated it.
In other
Listen,
matches.
listen. I know you got to get out of the way to let other people do spots, especially in like tornado matches and stuff. I totally get that. But learn your craft for fuck's sake. Like he would take a bump and you would watch him look around and be like, "Do you want me to scoot over here? Did you want me to scoot over here?"
think,
it was so fucking obvious. And I was like, "Stop." I
Here's
was getting
the
so mad.
Here's
But
the
hang on,
problem.
okay. The match was
Oh.
messy. The match was messy. I give it a thumbs down because they were they were trying to go over the
Agreed.
top with it. So that's good.
98, everybody seems to be thinking that this is the end for the Dudley Boys. However, if that's what they feel, then nobody seems to be thinking. Because the way I see it, the odds are stacked in the favor of the Dudley Boys. After all, New Jack, I guess he's got a prior engagement. I don't think he'll be here.
That's
but I think that this is where I really just started to be like, fuck this. It got so upset for me.
There you go.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
fucking laid
Yelling
down.
at my dog. Sorry.
Yeah, I heard it. But to Jess's point, this is the problem that I have with this pay-per-view overall. You can tell that the promo was important, but the match work was not important. There were so many portions where spots were missed or spots were a little bit, oh, I got to be here. And you can tell that they weren't prepared to know where they needed to be. It happens throughout the entire pay-per-view where you're like, oh, well, fuck, I guess I'm watching Saturday Morning Wrestling again, which is not a bad thing if I'm watching Saturday Morning Wrestling, but I'm kind of watching a pay-per-view right now, and it kind of matters. And I know it's...
And can I be honest? Like, I'm just going to be honest. Like,
that's the problem, right?
Unless Balls Mahoney is shooting someone in the face with a shotgun, he's not a good pro wrestler. Sorry. And that was the problem.
No, his entire gimmick is just carrying a chair that he hits people in the face with. That is his.
If other people are getting hit in the face with whatever he's carrying and they're taking bumps, he's great.
If you go into the whole pay-per-view knowing that people are gonna miss spots by a half a step and realizing that, you will see it.
Right.
I'm not trying to pump people up to
the Dudley Boys worked hard
like
in this match. They worked so hard because Dudley Boys are talented and they're legends.
Oh, they're
fantastic.
fantastic.
And they went to WWE.
Hall of Famers and deserving, yeah.
Like less than a year later, they went to WWE after this. And so
tore
like,
it down.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And so like they were doing really well. And so is Tanaka. I love Tanaka. He's great, but they just didn't gel. And Balls Mahoney is not a good pro wrestler. Sorry. I know people like him because he's crazy looking and he kind of reminds them of Cactus Jack and he fucking hits people with shit. But he's not a good pro wrestler. He's not good. Like,
well, this is the whole argument with pro wrestling and ECW. Like, that's great that someone can take a beer can to their face and cut their fucking forehead open. That's phenomenal. I'm glad you like it. I don't care.
Right.
I don't give a shit.
Right.
I don't give a shit.
What was your thumbs rating, Dave? Sorry.
Down.
Oh, it was down.
Craig
I will give it thumbs in the middle. Dave had a great point earlier when he said that they spent more time selling the promo, which was 5 guys in the ring. I think it was Gertner, Sign Guy, all the Dudleys. Spent about 5 minutes working up the crowd. It was phenomenal. It's what they do best. And then the match itself, they did work very hard hitting, violent, a lot of chairs. You forget how much headshots they used to do back then. You forget Bubba Ray was a big boy, the fattest I've ever seen him. He might have been fatter before this, but
he was so good as a heel.
I mean, they really were. And then like there's a point when Bubba and Devon go at it together and slap each other in the face, and it leads to the end of the kind of match. But then it becomes again a schmoz, and everyone comes in, and it becomes a disaster. But it's good. They tried hard. Thumbs in the middle, but
they lose the tag belts. The crowd does pop. I will say that. And like, Sabu and Rob Van Dam came down and interfered or whatever, because they had Dudley's beat Sabu and Van Dam for the tag titles, and so they were kind of trying to continue their feud on. But like again, every match was not only basically a tag match leading up to this, but had a clusterfuck of interference at the end of
just
every.
Cram the locker room in, cram 6 storylines into something, and then lead to it was too much. I had to look up at it was their WrestleMania, but it was just the most poorly executed cluster F WrestleMania of ECW.
Yeah.
And because I apologized, go ahead, Cuz.
WrestlePalooza is the WrestleMania.
No, because what?
WrestlePalooza is the WrestleMania.
Yeah, oh, is that right?
All right. Thumbs down. Yeah. Okay, moving on. What's the final match?
Thumbs down. But no, it was a thumbs down. Balls Mahoney, though, he has good matches with RVD. Masato Tanaka.
Well,
he actually has a match with John Cena.
Okay, wait a second.
No, I'm just wait a second. No, because we brought it up.
What match was the end?
Wait a minute.
No, it is thumbs down.
Wait a minute. You said RVD, who is fantastically talented.
Yeah.
Next match.
You said Tanaka, who is also.
Yes.
So those guys need to carry him.
No, but I'm saying like in this match,
carry.
No, he's not like a great pro wrestler. But he can carry himself in certain matches, and then
other people
actually
can carry
has
him
a match.
in certain matches. Other
He
people
has a good match with.
Because hold on, because anybody named Balls can't carry themselves. They need to name Balls to carry it.
He has a match with John Cena. I mean,
Okay.
it's a good match with John
right.
Cena.
I can't see that. So moving what? What's the other one?
Oh Jesus! Did you see what Dave did there, everyone? Fuck, god damn it.
He did.
So the next
can't
match
see me no more.
is they teased all night. Funk was here apparently because Dreamer didn't choose me. So
My horse is sick.
who
What?
is Dreamer's partner going to be? It's Tommy Dreamer and a mystery partner against
I'll be right
Justin
back.
Credible and Jack Victory in a tag team match. Who would have thunk it? 12 minutes 26 seconds. My notes were this could have easily been a Dreamer versus Credible match, which it would have been way better. With
The entire
his-
package was Dreamer Incredible. Why didn't they make it just
Yes.
Dreamer Incredible?
Yes. And his mystery partner was Jake the Snake
Yeah,
Roberts.
get out of here, Dave.
Who could have been in his corner. Go fuck
don't
off,
like this
Dave.
shit. Get the fuck
Motherfucker,
out.
you take another shit,
You don't
piece of
understand.
shit.
Bye,
Piece of
bitch.
shit.
You stupid fuck. So Jake the
Go
Snake
take your
Roberts
shit.
was Dreamer's partner, and you could tell Jake did not want to be there. And it could easily have been a singles match between Dreamer and Credible, which would have been great. It was
that
a
was the
sloppy
feud.
match overall because they had to slow down because Jake didn't want to be there.
Whoa.
And the
Whoa.
match was a cluttered mess. Credible had his major army down there, which was like 4 people.
Yeah.
Then you bring down One Man Gang, New Jack, and Kronos.
No reason.
And then Funk comes down again, and it's just this. It's like a battle royal.
Yeah,
It's a
but other
thumbs
than
down.
that, it was super tight.
No, not at all. That's just
was
such
it?
a brutal.
Balls Mahoney wrestled him too.
Yeah. So a thumbs down because I can't even describe it because it was such a fucking mess. And like Jake ended up DDTing Nicole Bast on the ladder, which got a huge pop. and
Well,
he did his stuff.
thumbs up alone.
They ended up winning, but at the same time, like it should have been a singles match, and Jake should have been in the corner. Like that's all it should have.
This is
That was it. And I got my paycheck, which was very nice. And I got on a plane and went home. I don't mind making a large sum of money for 30 seconds work. I don't object to that.
This is where ECW stabs me in the back. Where I'm like, man, the Terry Funk thing, man. It's the story in the beginning.
Well, what'd you think, Cuz? Go
Hey,
ahead.
Dave, welcome back. We missed you, and we're just talking
it
about
was-
how the commentary wasn't.
Cuz, what do you think
wasn't the
about
same
that?
without you?
Dave just took an extreme crappy wrestling shit. It was a thumbs down. For sure. I mean, it was just a mess. It was
wrap
Jake.
it up.
Even with
But
Jake.
I will say, Kronos did a pretty damn good 450 splash.
I was, and it's so funny. I was
It
ready
actually
to
was
write.
pretty
I
good.
didn't know that
It's-
was eliminated. Cronus.
It's funny. I was ready to write in my notes that he's so self-conscious about him being heavier than he used to be.
Yes.
That he kept
Oh, yeah.
pulling his tights up the entire time. He kept pulling his
Yeah.
tights up, pulling his tights up. And then like he did that fucking 450 splash, and I was like, never mind. And I crossed it out of my
Well,
notes. I was
he
like,
changed
Jesus.
his name to Cronut.
Craig,
And then
what do you
was it
think?
Jeff
That was a
Jones who
bad
takes a
joke.
chair shot? Was that this match or was that the last match? The referee that takes the chair shot to the head?
The last
Jeff
match.
Jones?
It was the last match.
Oh, damn it.
Craig, what do
Can
you
we
think
talk
of the-
about
Sorry.
why the fuck did ECW referees wear like that like polo with a very strange like?
No, they didn't always do this color.
It almost looked like a
It was always
soccer
a-
coach.
It looked like a
bowling- like a
coffee
bowling
cup
shirt.
that you get from like a industrial coffee machine. Except
They al-
instead of blue and purple, it's like a yellow and blue on the side of their shirt. Like,
They usually did black. I don't know.
Probably,
They just did.
They
it for
probably
this
got a
color.
deal, Craig.
Yeah.
do you
Low,
think?
low
yeah.
budget, my friend.
I think that we should do something.
We gotta speak to the early '90s.
I love how it's half Paul Heyman, half
Also
Roddy
known as
Piper
the
when you
local
bring it in.
bowling alley sold us old shirts for $1 a piece.
I don't know, brother.
Fuck you, Dave.
So
That is
Craig, what was
nothing
your-
short
what
of
was
an
your thumb
attack.
rating? What was your thumb rating?
My thumb rating?
Yes.
What match? No.
Okay.
Jake shouldn't have been there. He was probably.
Jake
we were
was
talking about this
wrong.
earlier. He was probably at the worst of who he
Yes,
was.
this
Rugby
was the worst
shirt and
time for him.
khakis. He could barely move. It was a schmoz. So many people came down. It made no sense. Yeah, oh man, it could have been so good. It was just terrible.
Jake
I
actually
just,
thought everything was a shoot.
You know the problem I have with the with this ECW pay per view. And
Come
maybe
on,
I'm
man.
way
I'm
out.
Paul Heyman.
Wow, come on,
Dave's talking
wow.
about.
Come on, wow.
We're gonna go out.
No, I'm going through my notes from like last year here. But here's the deal. I always thought like ECW would cheat and no one would get DQ'd, but the finish was always clean, right? And I felt like maybe not necessarily this match, but matches throughout the card that didn't happen. People were, constantly ball shotting and ball shotting again, and then eventually someone gets pinned. And I'm like, so the heel work was always part of ECW, but it wasn't supposed to be part of the ultimate finish where you felt like you got a satisfying victory. And I felt like they stepped away from that in this pay-per-view, and that's why I don't like it. Amongst a whole bunch of other reasons, but that's the big thing to me about it. They step away from who they really are.
I'm not saying we could all run a wrestling company. I'm not saying that you
of course not.
could fill a pay-per-view and fill a story and please everybody, but this was such a disaster. I'm not sure where in the ECW lexicon this was like towards the end or what. It was a failure to please anybody.
They still had 2 more years, but no, I feel like this was more of them just kind of like cramming it all in, and that we don't say we have rules, but we're not going to say
and ironically too, like Sandman was already gone.
They try to cram all that in. Sandman.
Yeah, Sandman was already gone, and within 6 months they were going to lose Taz. They were going to lose maybe a little longer than 6 months with Taz. We're going to lose Dudley's, and so like they lost.
Taz was 2000.
Yeah, well, yeah, he debuted at the beginning, but at the end of '99 he was gone. So about a year later, you're right. About a year later, about 6 to 8 months later, Dudley's were gone. Like they just started losing people. Bigelow left and went to WCW. A month later, Bigelow was gone. We'll talk about him later.
I hate to say it, but there's a lot of other places that wouldn't crumble based on people that come and go.
Well, unfortunately, these guys were the third person. Like you had 2 big giants like throwing big money contracts. So I agree with him. But Paul Heyman's unique talent has always been to bring up the best of people and hide their weaknesses. And I just felt in this pay-per-view, I felt like, did you fly Vince Russo down and let him book one pay-per-view just for you lost a bet? Like you lost a bet? Because this is Russo booking. This is garbage.
So could you argue that this was like the one vacation that Paul
could
Heyman
be?
took?
Maybe he let Bubba Ray book it or Tommy Dreamer book it. Like
I think it's the production values. You forget, man. The production values were bad. They barely sold out this place. Like the biggest part of the staging with 2 banners. Like they had an elevated ramp. Like a couple of cameras. The camera work was never tight. Like you forget how shitty or like rogue ECW camera work always in production always was. Like this is a reminder.
Well, that's what made it ECW
and to your point, Craig, a lot of ECW work that you would see before pay-per-view was edited, like over edited.
Right.
Paul Heyman would be like, there's stories of Paul Heyman asleep on the couch and go, stop that, rewind that, cut that.
And in his mom's house in Jersey, right? Like that's
But on a pay-per-view, you can't fucking do that, right?
Here's the funny thing though. You were giving our comments on the pay-per-view as a whole and talking about production, and I'm not even done with the main event yet, by the way.
Like, you should be, because
so the main event,
I thought that's where we were going here.
The main event is the new triple threat, which was Sabu, RVD, and Taz with Bill Alfonso, our favorite,
which we'd already seen.
They defeated the original triple threat, Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Chris Candido with Francine. It was a whole. They were tired of the triple threat dominating, so they decided to form the new triple threat. 6-man tag team match, main event, another fucking tag match. It was to build further. Douglas was the world champion here, and Taz was chasing him, and Douglas was running from him. So I get that part. 12 minutes, 57 seconds. My notes were, what a waste of main event talent, for the love of God.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, after all the shit you gave me, and you put all these surprise appearances like Roberts and all that stuff coming in, I was like, so you could have had 2 good singles matches out of these 6 people, or 1 good tag match and then another good singles. The match and the whole night was such an overbooked mess. This match was it did not deliver as a main event. Douglas was chubby, even though he was good on the mic. And the match was a thumbs down. You know what?
Nice.
I want to hear RVD's pop, because RVD was so fucking over, and so was Sabu, but I'm not a fan of Sabu. But RVD was so fucking over, and I loved him. And like they cram him into a 6-man match. Douglas had a good promo to lead off the match or whatever, but after that, it was just more of the same. I felt every match continued from the match before, of cluster fucking people coming in, just a bunch of shit going on the outside of the ring, people running in for no reason or whatever, and like somehow Sabu, Taz, and them won. It was awful.
WCW? What?
Huh? Well, yeah, no, WCW in its dying years. You're right. You're 100% right. This was WCW. This reminded me. That's a very good point. This reminded me of WCW in '99 and 2000 when they were dying and they were trying anything. It was awful. So that's what I thought of this main event. Dave, go ahead.
Wait, did you give it thumbs?
I gave a thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Horseshit. Moving on. You said
Craig,
it all.
go ahead, Craig.
Me? What?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. What? Thumbs down. What?
Yeah. Jess's point about Douglas's promo was the best part of the whole thing. Like, it really was. Like, you forget. I was impressed by it. Like, and the way, and Bigelow, so underrated. Like, I love that guy. You watch shoot videos of him, and he talks about, and he was very loyal. But if you fucked him over, he left to a new pasture.
Earlier in the same year, in 1998, he had amazing matches with Taz and RVD.
Yes,
like it was so good.
Yeah,
Bigelow was
so good.
Absolute.
It was such a waste of talent, and again, such a schmoz.
I'm pretty sure Bam Bam is one of our underrated episodes.
Hell yes,
hell yes. So go look that up. Bam Bam is the epitome of underrated.
Yeah, I hate Taz. I've always hated Taz. I'll never ever give respect to any of Taz.
No, what? Oh my god!
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
He's 4'1". He works at. He has a terrible singlet, and he puts people on his neck. I don't respect people that plex people on their neck without protecting them. And it seems he made a good living and a gimmick out of putting people on their neck where they had to protect themselves, and he didn't protect them when he was a very, very small, tiny midget. So I don't respect Taz. I never have.
That's probably why he put them on there.
Really dumb story. But it kind of reminded me when my wife and I first started dating, and she was really protective of her family meeting me. She would tell them that I was like 4'10" and 300 pounds with no hair everywhere except for the top of my head.
Is that true?
That's what she would tell her sister and my mom. Because when you said 4'1", I was like, that's my wife would say that to like protect you. You can't meet him. He's not attractive at all.
My boyfriend is Taz.
And that's Taz.
Yeah.
That's Taz.
That's my opinion of it. It could have been so much good. I like Shane Douglas. I like Bam Bam Bigelow. The rest I can do.
No, I like aspects of it too, but this should have been split up. Like, why couldn't Chris Candido have taken on RVD or something like that? Like, and give me a good fucking singles match for God's sakes. Or Taz, who was fighting to get at Douglas. Taz has to beat, because he's already beaten Bigelow. Taz has to beat Candido. I'm all for that. And then the main event tag match could have been Douglas and Bigelow against Sabu and RVD, who had been teaming. That would be fine too. I'm fine with that. But give me something else. These guys, you're cramming these guys who are so talented like in there. Taz was on a singles mission to get Douglas. Do not cram him in this garbage. Like, don't expose him, in other words, because RVD was 10 times the performer that Taz was. So don't put him next to Taz. Shane Douglas is 10 times the performer. Not, I know Taz does stiff suplexes and shit, but he's 10 times the performer that Taz is. Don't overexpose Taz. And he's don't trust anybody, right? Taz, right? Isn't that a whole thing?
So can we,
why does he have partners? Why is he with RVD?
Can we all agree that this is all Cuz's fault?
I do. What's this match? What do you like about this match, Cuz, if anything?
To be fair, Taz does point that out. If you want to go,
that was your fault. I didn't see that, but okay.
Taz does say, as much as I hate Sabu, and I don't care about RVD, and I could care less about Alfonso if it's the only way I can get close to you, franchise, and get the Kikita clutch on you. That's what I'm gonna do. So he said he said that storyline wise. So storyline wise, it's still a thumbs down because of the talent involved, and it should have been way better. Even if it was going to be a 3-on-3, it could have been way better.
I feel like all these guys decided to go play craps instead of working on the match.
No,
you're right.
Because I forgot about this whole thing. I forgot. I've said it in podcasts before. The worst thing you can do to any ECW match in the history of wrestling is put Bill Alfonso in there.
Oh.
And that this was not a 5-star match, but if it was a 5-star match, to hear that methed out Bill Alfonso blow that whistle for 20 minutes, I would be.
What are you talking about, Daddy?
Like
So
it's,
somebody
for
has to
Heyman
tell
not
me.
to
how
I feel
realize
like-
what a distraction and what a fucking shitty.
Yeah, you're right.
Horrible
I
way.
hate it. I hate it too. Trust me, I hate
Sorry.
it.
But can someone explain to me how that piece of shit collected a check?
Oh my
for
God.
He was a
that
referee
long?
at first in ECW.
He was
And then
he was
became
a good. He was a
manager.
ref
Yeah,
in
he was a
WCW
referee.
too.
And
for years.
and yeah, I was gonna say WCW. All right, carry
Hit
us
us
on.
up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And anything we talk about today is inspired by the WWE Network. Do yourself a favor and get your free month today to watch anything WWE, WCW, ECW, and more. This is Dave, Jess, Craig, and some bitch ass fool. We're signing off with the O.W.P. Signing off.
Peace out, my brothers.
Have a good one.
Suppressing your own cognitive function, eliminating conversations. Our chips were growing and awakening because of your on the weekend. Fragility, such a man in this world, only to all you